what we're here to talk about with the expansion of 6 lanes to Pleasantdale, it's a big deal. It's a 7-generation thing that does nothing but create more economic activity. I think the one thing we all agree upon is Dwight D. Eisenhower's vision of interstate commerce after World War II was extraordinary and transformed our country of economic vitality. As a kid, I remember the 2 times we got to go to Colorado of the interstate being under construction on the western side. A tidbit that I didn't know before was that Nebraska was the first state in the country in 1974 to complete interstate from east to west across the entire state. So a pretty cool thing, and now obviously making tremendous progress with 6 lanes. We've got folks here that will be able to talk to a lot more detail, but one of the things I wanted to do is take a minute to give an update on the extraordinary weather and challenges that the state of Nebraska has gone through this past weekend since mid-Friday afternoon. Obviously here in Lancaster County, in Douglas County, Washington County, Butler County, Hamilton, Greeley, other counties across the state that have damage, but mostly in Lancaster County, in Douglas County, and in Washington County. First off, can't do enough to give enough shout out. Number one, thank you to press and to all of your meteorologists with helping people know what kind of severe weather is coming. Michael and I were talking about their team here doing drills. They've been at this location 10 years doing drills, never had weather, and everybody followed the drills. You think of Garner Industries when you look at the picture, and to think that everybody came out because they followed the drills in Nebraska doing that. Extraordinarily important, and things that are important for us to remember because we're not out of the season. The other thing I think that's so incredibly important, and I'll pass it off to Captain Miller here in a minute. We've mobilized, I'm in awe of the public servants across the state of Nebraska that answer the call when our neighbors need help. So we have countless divisions, too many to name right now, that are working and have been working around the clock to get our power restored. I think we had 24 units from across the state spearheaded by OPPD and NPPD to get power back, and I think as of this morning there's like 450 homes that don't have power, and the reason why they don't have power, they're totally destroyed. So that's the number between Elkhorn and Washington County, right in that 450 home area. I've been on ground zero of both places. Elkhorn was devastating, and then yesterday I was in Washington County, and I will tell you, extraordinarily sobering. The cell grew significantly by the time it got to Washington County. The area there are homes and horse barns, lots of rural activity, and there's ground zero homes have been totally obliterated. And so the thing I think that there's a couple messages. Number one, a lot of people are asking, where can we help? Well, how we can help today would be going to the foundations, and people need I call it cash. Green, the color green works because people need help with resources. The devastation, the pictures, the photos, everything that all of us see until you're on ground zero don't even come close to doing it justice. So we have an extraordinary number of families in Nebraska that are in great need of help, number one. Number two, it's really important that we get it out. Example would be in Washington County. On Saturday afternoon, we did not know the severe extent because most of the people in Washington County just started rolling their sleeves up, going to work, and nobody's asking for help. it's really, really important that we get the message out to all Nebraskans that it's essential that they call their county emergency management so that we can be keeping track and we can be documenting so that as we call it a declaration for emergency, that we're working with FEMA and that we're able to take full advantage of all of the opportunities from the federal government. President Biden called and said they want to help Nebraska know how serious it was and how many people, but the one thing we have to do is we have to ask for help. And so this is not normal for Nebraskans to ask for help. And so it's really important that we get the message out to Nebraskans. If you don't ask for help, we actually harm our neighbor because we need everybody to get to the levels so that we can get the federal assistance. Some people may say, we have great insurance, we'll be okay. The effects of the storm, and with the federal government's help, we'll even be able to get individual assistance so every single Nebraskan is able to get themselves back up, and many will need the help. So those are things that are extraordinarily important, and most of all, I think, as we talk about people wanting to volunteer, actually this weekend in areas in Elkhorn there were probably too many volunteers. The other message to Nebraskans is this recovery will be a long, long marathon. And if we can ask all Nebraskans to pull weekends out of their summer schedule to be able to engage in the Elkhorn community and to engage in Washington County, because there's going to be incredible need for help. The families that have had their homes totally pulverized, not even any parts of effective homes left, and the cleanup is, it's just hard to comprehend. It's so incredibly sobering. It's quite honestly really, really hard to even talk about. So the message to Nebraskans is there's lots of opportunity to help for an extended period of time, and quite honestly, my assessment would be that it's going to take every single weekend and every opportunity between now and the snow fly-in to be able to have a chance to get those communities cleaned up and be able to start rebuilding. And so lastly, really grateful, just can't comprehend the heroic work of first responders. I spent time yesterday with the fire chief from Kennard, and his team were going into the homes that were totally obliterated within minutes after the storm went through and helping recover people and come out. Extraordinary emotional stories, but by the grace of God, no casualties, and incredible stories of what people live through. So the volunteers and the first responders, the work that they do is incredible. And I want to turn it over. We're all of the county sheriffs, the local police, making sure that our residents are safe, number one, and then after this happens, to protect our property from Nebraska's the greatest place and the safest place in the history of civilization, but we do have a few bad actors that we have to protect from coming in and make sure we keep the property protected. And Captain Miller and the Nebraska State Patrol mobilized some of their team to help in Douglas County, and I want to turn it over to Captain Miller, and great thanks for your public service and for your team's work. So Captain Miller, thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. My name is Captain Miller with the Nebraska State Patrol. Just give you a quick update of our efforts and what we're doing to the affected areas. The families affected in the tornado area had their lives devastated, and we're making sure that their lives aren't devastated even more by providing security around the clock in these affected areas. We're working with our law enforcement partners in the Sheriff's Office and police departments and conducting saturated patrols of the area and checkpoints. So we want to make sure that if you don't have a business in the area, to please stay away. You very well may be contacted by law enforcement, and we have contacted individuals and sent them home. If you would like to help, we would ask for you to reach out to the emergency management teams in your county and find a directed effort to get it associated with before you show up, rather than just showing up in the affected area and trying to help and possibly start picking up somebody else's property. So with that said, there is law enforcement all around 24/7. So if you should not be in the area, we are around, and please stay out of that area. And with that, I will turn it over to NDOT Director Vicki Kramer.
Thank you, Captain Miller. Thank you, Governor. And Governor, thank you for being here today. We know everything that's going on in the state. And as you said, it truly takes partnership and community to get us through times like this. Times like this are not unknown to the department. We were one of the first responders as well on the ground, making sure that traffic was taken care of, making sure that we could restore mobility, something that we're very familiar with coming out of the 2019 floods. And the one thing that I think we've learned and taken out of it is what's going to be so important as we go into the next few days of challenges is it truly is the partnerships and it truly is the communities that help us rebuild to make sure that we can go back to really that enhanced mobility, which supports that economic development and the safety piece. And that's why we're here today and want to talk about a little bit about the I-80 expansion. It's an important project. It's something we've been working for decades to make sure that we can restore additional mobility to this corridor as well as enhance capability and capacity. If anybody's coming in from Grand Island, they know how difficult it gets the closer you get to Lincoln. The congestion, the truck traffic, it gets dangerous. And so we want to make sure that we can provide the capacity that everybody feels safe on the roadways. Safety is the utmost importance to us, and it will be the main component of this project as we start to move forward with expanding I-80 West. So the first 17 or so miles is the first project we have that is already underway and moving. It shows a significant investment in transportation, and it shows our commitment to that safety and to that mobility piece. Again, it's something that NDOT holds dear to our hearts. Coming back from the 2019 floods, our partners were in it with us, our contractors were in it with us to make sure that we can support our neighbors and our communities. And so it's been a pleasure to be able to, over the last couple of days, just have a small part in the recovery efforts as neighbors have come together and really help to secure those areas, as NSP said. And we'll continue to be there with our help that we can provide, whether it be through speed limits or debris recovery. We'll be there and focused, as well as making sure that we can continue our program on important projects like this. So I want to turn it over to Senator Ballard to talk about what this project means for the community.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Governor, for being here. I know it's been a long, difficult weekend, so I appreciate everyone here. I'd like to welcome you to District 21 in Northwest Lancaster County to talk about such an important project for not only my community but our state. The Department of Transportation has taken on huge projects to further our state and propel our community into the future generations. As the Governor said, we do everything today to impact our generations, 7 generations to come. As I knock doors and talk to thousands of Nebraskans in my community, the one thing I hear, of course, is property tax, but shortly after that is infrastructure. The need to maintain and build our critical highway systems, roads, and bridges is critical to Nebraska. And that's why the next project I hear about the benefits of the South Beltway, the East Beltway, connecting that to the I-80 expansion is going to not only grow our community and propel it in the future, but also enhance the farm to market capabilities and benefit not only Southeast Nebraska, but Nebraska as a whole. So I'm looking forward to this project. Thank you to the Governor and his team, the Director and her team for all the hard work. Next, I have the privilege of introducing a business owner that I've known for several years now, as an innovator, of hard worker, and I'd like to turn over to Chris Hawkins.
Senator, not everybody says privilege to start, but Senator, Governor Pillen, and our other state elected officials who aren't here with us, thank you for your dedication over many years to roads funding and acknowledging the critical importance of infrastructure for our economy, for our quality of lives, and as unfortunately we just saw again Friday, for our safety. Our roads carried our first responders, our volunteers, and as Director Kramer pointed out, our contractors. And also, unfortunately, this isn't our first rodeo. It's only been 5 years since our last natural disaster with the floods. And as I pointed out then, I think has to be pointed out as you did, that it's so special, the partnership that we have from a public-private standpoint. When we face our most serious challenges, that's when we're at our best, and it's really wonderful. What a great thing to know that our biggest challenge is what to do with so many volunteers in Nebraska. We have too many to deal with. It's a neat thing. But thank you for your dedication, and to Vicki and all the DOT team. I see Khalil and Mick here who have worked on this project for literally decades. It takes too long, and you're working on that too. But for now, after years of programming and design, it all culminates in a day like today that we really get to celebrate, or at least you get to celebrate, and you have a lot to be proud of. For Hawkins, we're just starting. I'll save the celebration until this project is successfully completed, which it will be. But I was given 2 minutes. So that's all I have to say. We'll let the work speak for itself, and we're honored and grateful to be here today. With that, Governor, I'll kick it back to you.
Thank you, Chris, and I will give you, Chris, a shout out. You know, I was at the Omaha airport getting briefed 18 months ago, and obviously learned about the saving of the airport during the flood. You know, extraordinary partnerships, and I think you guys were putting wells in around the clock for like 6 months, and then the other night your team's out at the airport. It's just people stepping up and doing the right thing, and that's what makes Nebraska is such a great place. So with that, we'd be happy to entertain any questions from the press on anything that's on your mind. And if you have some, if you'd kind of try to come up, or I'll step up and hand off or try to answer. So. Yeah, so I think thank you, Martha. The question is, if people want to volunteer, how do they go about it? I think that the thing that's going to be really important is that each community in Elkhorn, there are setups like at St. Pat's Catholic Church, and then local Douglas County Sheriff's Department, and then Douglas County Emergency Management, and then the Red Cross. Omaha Community Foundation, numbers of nonprofits are also opportunities for people that'll be coordinated to help with volunteer. The volunteer efforts are really pretty simple for Nebraskans. It's time and treasure. We'll ask for businesses. There's going to be requiring extraordinary amounts of heavy equipment because there's so much vegetation because of Washington County's beauty. There's generations of trees that are gone, and it's going to take a lot of heavy equipment. So Mike, if you got any extra stuff here, it's just going to take everybody, and businesses are reaching out. So the standard things, I think, Martha, would be between city, between county, between our United Way, the Red Cross, Omaha Community Foundation. You get into Washington County Emergency. The volunteer fire departments are very active, involved, mostly Kennard and Fort Calhoun. All of the damage is like 5 miles south of Blair. Blair community is obviously stepping up and doing extraordinary things there as well. Andrew's question was if we expected to activate the National Guard. Was with General Strong yesterday for most of the afternoon. We've had conversations. Obviously, there's the National Guard, to mobilize them. It's for public property, and so we're trying to assess the damages within right-of-ways and the damages of private property. So we're studying that in the midst of if that'll take place or not. Andrew's question is if we have any preliminary estimates on damages. I think that the best answer I can give you, it'd just be a really, really wild guess. As an example, Chris and I were just talking about there are 4 hangars on the eastern side of the Omaha airport totally damaged. Those are public property. Those 4 hangars, a rough estimate would be $1.5 million each to replace. So there's $6 million of public property. With OPPD and all of the work with the electric utilities, we're pretty confident that'll far exceed $6 million of what that's going to take, and that's not talking about, as Vicki mentioned, of what it all's taken to clearing roadways and so forth. And then if you just let's just say big picture, maybe there's 500 homes. And a lot of these homes were, in the Bennington area on the lake. So these homes are significant. And then when you're in Washington County, most of all those are not 60 by 90 lots. Those homes are acreages with lots of outbuildings. So I think it's premature. We're working on that. But I think that between General Strong and Irv Porter's head of operations for NEMA, we signed declarations that will exceed all state. Will be able to ask and work. We've been working with the Region 7 FEMA and had one conversation with the director of FEMA this weekend, and so we'll expect to far exceed that. We want to make sure we work hard in the coming days to get those numbers before, so we don't under-ask.
You said that the photos didn't really do it justice. Can you kind of describe what you saw on the ground?
The question was, I said photos don't do it justice. So what did I see? So if any of you have driven between Blair and Northwest Omaha, and you just all the extraordinary vegetation, beautiful rolling. So for a mile and a half wide, every tree's just ripped out at the core. And then there's ground zero homes. All you see is the concrete. There's no home left. There's nothing there. And then and then the next place a home is totally, maybe there's a couple things. So the devastation is so sobering, and I think that even I'm 36 hours after the point or more, and you just kind of start thinking about what it's going to take for the community to heal, and it's going to be years. It's going to be years before the scars are healed, and it's going to take 500 families from cleanup to rebuild. It's going to take extraordinary period of time. So when you think of all those things, it's incredibly sobering, and then think about the people that live in the community, and 200 yards their neighbor's house is gone and their house isn't touched. And there's emotions that go with all that. So we just need to all roll our sleeves up. A lot of prayers. Only by God's grace did we not have a fatality. And again, can't thank all the news channels and the advance warning. Yet, a number of people I met yesterday said, well, I'm in Nebraska and I got to see the storm. And I watched the storm just until I got down, So, it is incredible. I don't know if anybody can find the right words to use it, but it's a war zone. That's the best word I can use. It's a war zone in the area, and it's very wide when it comes from the Alcorn area and crosses through into Washington County. The longer it went, the bigger it got, and the wider it was. I was busy both Saturday and Sunday, so I did not. President Biden left me a message, said that their team is, and we still had a day to go. And so his message was that they're keeping a very close eye, and he said, I want to make sure you know we have every intention of doing everything we can to help Nebraska recover, because we know that you're going through a lot of severe stuff. So and it's the same way with the FEMA director, that I told her we were very grateful for their outreach, and that we Nebraskans are learning that we need to ask for help. Two folks are here from the Federal Roads Department, and as we said, we've got to do a better job of asking for help, and as long as I'm governor, I'll plan on doing that.
Yeah, sure.
I guess, when you left the airport, what did you guys see, as far as the damage there? And what is your role with rebuilding at the airport?
Well, right now it's just cleanup effort. So I think this is public knowledge. They're trying to keep, people away from the airport. Same thing that the captain talked about. So no one should go try to look at it themselves. But there's 4 hangars on the east side, public hangars, as the governor said, that are essentially completely destroyed. Our role is trying to get that debris removed. In airport world, FOD, free object debris, is pretty dangerous, right? We need to get everything cleaned up so it's not sucked up into plane engines and things of that nature. But really, it's just cleanup. I mean, it's a scrapped effort right now. The challenge is those hangars have airplanes in them, and some of those airplanes are really damaged. They have insurance issues with them. They also have fuel in the airplane, so there's environmental concerns that we need to work around.
How far were you able to get in the last 2 days?
Sorry, say that again?
How far were you able to get in the last 2 days?
It'll be pretty cleaned up within the next day or two. So we got far. We did what we always do. We got right after it. So it's trucks and excavators, and we'll do that. By the way, since I have it, I wanted to note, you all saw the video of the tornado going through over I-80 by Waverly. That was Hawkins built pavement that survived. And I hope this next stretch doesn't have to prove it, but for 7 generations, it'll have a chance to prove it.
One of the things in regard to the airport that's important for all Nebraskans to understand, because I think David Roth would be disappointed if I didn't say it, commercial transportation, the west side of the airport was not touched. The airport was, I think, down for 59 minutes, and so people were moved into areas, but planes were moving quickly. So this would be on the east side, private aircraft, nothing to do with commercial.
Chris. Just to elaborate a little bit more on the I-80 project that we're talking about, timeline, and maybe how much traffic will have to be accelerated or whatever. Some of those factors, just to give people an idea of what they can do as this project.
Well, I think I might have to ask Scott for a little bit of help on this. Tell me if I'm telling it wrong, but essentially, right now it's 2 lanes each direction. That will remain 2 lanes, right? So is that primarily your question? Traffic should not be significantly impacted. That's why it's a 3-year project as opposed to a 1.5 years, right? We need to be able to maintain traffic at its current status. Anything you'd change to that? Okay.
Just quickly, obviously it's a heavily congested area, so making sure that we can keep traffic moving through construction. We're going to be doing night work. We're going to be utilizing different approaches to make sure that safety element as well as that enhanced mobility continues to work through.
Maybe the other ask I would ask everybody in the press to help us with, in the name of safety, during construction projects all across the state, that when we see construction projects on roads, if we would really slow down, tap the brakes. We had 2 fatalities this past year in 2023. We don't need any, we just need to use common sense, take a breath, slow down when you see construction, and abide by all the signs, and make sure that we'll get there. Just slow it down and be extra safe.
Anything else?
Okay, well, we're grateful for everybody. Congratulations. Next 7 generations, this concrete will last. Economic activity, and it's really awesome to watch the state of Nebraska grow. And we have unprecedented opportunities in the next 10 years that we've never seen in the history of our state. So exciting times. Thanks for everybody being here. The public-private partnerships are a big deal, and together we can. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you. Good job.